What was the meeting today? And the messages delivered. What was the goal when you got up there and stuff?
You have to realize in these meetings you got a lot of guys that have never been with the Astros before, and this is really day one. So we have to kind of start from scratch, describe what we're all about. I went through a little bit of a history lesson over the last 3 years where we've been, and I started with the fact that really the only three players that have been with me here the entire time are Altuve, Marwin, and Castro. And so there's been a lot of turnover, a lot of change in this organization. I went through and I described a little bit of that history and what our expectations are this year and how we went about this offseason putting this team together. So I think they got a pretty good feel, as much as you can in a half an hour meeting for what the organization's all about.
You set any expectations as far as, I know you said you think you could be a winning team. I mean, do you relay that to them? Or
well, these guys are all professional baseball players. They want to win as many games as they can. We're not going to set any limitations on them. That's not our job to do. I mean, I think it's up to them at this point. We've done our work for the offseason. It's up to them. But the men in that room are capable of doing what they need to do this year and putting together a fun, exciting, winning product.
A lot of guys have been here the position guys have been here for several days, up to a week for a few of them. Today is still kind of a special kickoff. I mean, does it feel a little bit different?
No, it absolutely. Today's the special day because everybody's here, and we have the Jim Crane address the club, and AJ, myself, and others. And it's the official kickoff. I mean, these guys have been working hard all off season. The training doesn't start today. The training started a long time ago, but this is the official kickoff. And we've got a lot of days and a lot of games in front of us before we have to narrow it down to 25. 60 people in that room, and there's a lot of talent in that room. I put it on par with just about any organization in baseball.
Will some players speak?
No, not. I mean, there was some banter back and forth, but it was mostly communication to the players about what the expectations are.
Anyone notable aside from you, Jim and AJ?
Anytime you have a meeting like that, you introduce everybody so they know so everybody gets introduced on the staff. And Trey Hillman, usually the field coordinator is the one that, or the bench coach is the one that goes through the routines so they know what to expect and all of that. So all the logistics he takes care of.
Jeff, when you got here in this organization and the state of the franchise at that point to now, is this a feeling now you can actually say, hey, we have guys that can contend for the first time?
When I had those three guys to stand up, Altuve, Marwin, and Castro, and this, 3 All-Star appearances, a batting title, and Marwin's been one of the rising utility players in the game. Those are 3 pretty guys to have throughout that entire time. But all of the work that we've been doing leads to this point, 2015, where we're starting with those 60 men in the clubhouse, and you've got a tremendous amount of young talent in there, guys that haven't gotten to the big leagues yet, like Colin Moran and Carlos Correa and Mark Appel. You've got a tremendous amount of young talent that just got there, like Springer and Singleton. And then you've got guys at various stages of their career, Keuchel and Hugh, and then the veterans like Ishek and Gregerson and Rasmus. So it's a really interesting combination, and we definitely have the talent in there to do some damage this year.
With all the work you do in putting the team together and building it over these years, are you getting excited about the possibilities for the team?
Well, I hesitate to use that word, but I think that I'm exuberant. I do think that we all work so hard, but it takes place on the field, and we're going to have 30 practice games before we actually get to see the real thing. I just like watching these guys out there and seeing them do their work, and eventually the practice games and then the real games. But there is an optimism about this season that didn't exist the last few years. There's always a certain amount of optimism you have because you don't know what's going to happen, but there is an increased expectation and an increased level of optimism for this year.
Fernandez up there?
It should be any day now. Possibly traveling tomorrow or the next day is what we're hoping.
So has he been granted the visa?
Or? There's various steps, but we're close. So I expect him here later this week.
Hey, Jeff, thoughts on AJ and kind of how he's run things so far? Still very early, but just what you're saying.
Yeah, it is early, but the tone has been set in there. It's the priorities are getting the work done properly, not necessarily spending a lot of time doing stuff, but just getting it done the right way. And it's a casual, I would call it almost collegial environment in there, where it really feels like there's a lot of banter back and forth amongst all players, the ones that have been here, the ones that are new here. So we're off to a good start. I think people feel like they're part of a good group, and there's a lot of potential.
You talk about you have a lot of guys. Maybe you don't really know what you have yet. You obviously know with Jose, but is it cool to you that he still is like, I want to do more. I'm not satisfied with what I've done in the past?
I mean, I feel like we owe it to Jason and Altuve to go out and help them be part of a winning effort, because those are winning players, and they've been here all along, and they've been doing their part, and we know what to expect from them, and they're going to go out there and deliver like they always have, and I think now we've got the people around them to help them achieve what they want. They didn't want to end up with losing teams the last few years. They wanted to be on winning teams, and I think they're going to have a chance to do that now.
Jeff, you touched on this in that luncheon before camp about the pivotal decision regarding John Singleton. If he's the everyday guy, how it impacts you with Evan and Chris. Could you reiterate your thoughts about? You said that as many as excited you are about the new guys, you're just as excited about what he's going to do. Some thoughts about Singleton.
He looks great. I've been watching him these last few days, and he's done what he needs to do this offseason to come in and improve off of not only a tremendous minor league career, but his start to the major league career last year, which was mixed. Hit 13 home runs, but he had a low batting average. I think my money's on John Singleton to do the things that he needs to do to make this club. Now, he makes this club, and he's our first baseman opening day. We've got two guys between Carter and Gaddis. We've got to find a spot for them. Both of them have proven major league bats and tremendous power potential. So, that's where AJ and the staff really need to figure out what they're going to do. And I think it's too early to speculate, but certainly rooting for John to show us what he's capable of doing, and I think it would be a great outcome if he were our opening day first baseman.
There's a certain randomness with batting balls and batting averages, right? In that context, how difficult was what Altuve did last year, and how difficult would it be for somebody to repeat that?
Altuve is an elite hitter. I've known that for years, I think. The industry has known that for years. I've always said, in my mind, he's going to be a 300 career hitter, and those guys are few and far between. So, there's going to be years like most of these great hitters where they hit 340 and years that they hit 305. But in my mind, Altuve is an elite major league hitter, and we're going to see year in and year out evidence of that. So, is there upticks and downticks in performance? Yeah, and that could be due to luck or due to skill. I'm not sure, but he's one of the elite guys.
And it must not surprise you that Gaddis, who's nothing like Altuve in terms of what he does, says he wants to get hitting tips from Jose, wants to pick his brain. That shouldn't surprise you.
No question. Jose has such a great swing and such a great approach. Gaddis has some of the fastest hands in the game and some of the most tremendous, wrist strength and forearm strength. And so, you combine. Gaddis doesn't need a whole lot of improving of his game. He's done pretty well in his first 2 years in the big leagues, and I think he will do well for us. But it's positive for me that even a player that has a good resume like Gaddis is looking for ways to get better and looking at his teammates for ways to get better. That's a huge sign that we're on the right path.
For an organization that's so advanced statistically, did it ever even just make you smile a little bit that batting average became such an important part of playing 14 and kind of even heading into this year?
Well, the batting champion has always been a big part of baseball, and that's probably never going to change. And, it's no metric is perfect. I think we all know that, but certainly Jose being able to go out there and win that batting title, I don't care what it was. He was one of the best hitters in the American League in all of baseball last year, and he deserves all the accolades that come with that.
Jeff, thank you.